Well, hello, I'm Ed Parcaut, your host of Helping the Brave. Only one here today. Everybody else is doing so many different things. That's why we have many different hosts. Today, we have a special guest, Stephanie Brown of the Rosie Network. You're the CEO and founder of the Rosie Network, correct?
Correct. Yep.
All right. So before we get all into all about the Rosie Network, you want to give a little background of who you are, and you're not a veteran, but you were married to a veteran. Or currently, give a little bit of background so everybody knows who you are that don't know who you are. So.
Okay. Well, first, I grew up in the military. So I am officially a military brat. My father served over 20 years in the Air Force, 2 tours in Vietnam. He actually, when he retired here in California, he opened up a small music store because, he would work during the day, and then on the weekends he would make extra money. We were an enlisted family with like 5 kids, so I remember growing up, my mom and dad telling me, "Hey, by the way, we lived below the poverty level, guys." But so for extra money, and plus it was his passion and his love, he played in a band at the officers club. So when he retired, he opened up a music store in California. I spent many, many hours. I'm probably the only one in my family that has absolutely no musical skill. I can't sing to save my life, can't play an instrument, can't keep a tune, a beat. But I would work in his music store, right? I mean, I would do inventory, I would do display, I would do, paying the bills, all that kind of stuff. And so that's really where I caught the bug, which later became the Rosie Network. But I caught the bug, that entrepreneurial, plague. Because, if you're an entrepreneur, it's a totally different mindset. I mean, you gotta be a little crazy, definitely determined to really kind of make this whole life work. But that's where I caught it. I learned a lot of lessons from my dad. Hey, Dad, thank you. And I have those. I didn't realize they were lessons at the time. You're a teenager, you think you have all the answers. You're trying to tell your dad, "Hey man, we're not making enough money. Quit giving stuff away to every veteran that walks in the store, blah, blah, blah." And fast forward when I actually, before I married Tom, who was a young officer working at the Pentagon at the time. I never heard of the term SEAL, didn't know what a Navy SEAL was, had no idea. And he didn't, we were dating for a while before he actually told me what he did. And, I still had no idea. I thought, God, that's a weird name for a career in the Navy, but I owned a business. I actually had owned several businesses before I met Tom. And, in my field, what I went to college for, I had successful businesses in my field. And then suddenly, this day at a Hallmark store, I meet this, handsome guy standing behind me. And a year later, we're married. And then I'm getting the, "Hey, welcome to the Navy. You're getting ready to go overseas. Don't expect to have a job or a career," kind of deal. And that was really hard. That was hard for me because I went from being an owner of a business to being unemployed and unemployable.
Can I interrupt a little bit here? All right. Sorry. I don't want to just cut you off, but I want to go back just a little bit. What did you go to school to do? Because you said you had your business from what you went to school for.
Interior design and architecture.
Okay.
So that was if you ever go into a model home.
No, I totally understand all that. I'm in the mortgage industry, so
right, exactly. Yeah. So we're, you want a nice house, you want it to sell. But I worked with developers, so I worked with a number of big developers in the Washington D.C. area. This is way back when, and I would go in, and they would have 3 model homes, and I would, with my team, we would design them from, from the floor up, and create these fictitious families, and, did everything. So, and I loved it. It was my, I was good at it. I loved it. It was hard work, but it was phenomenal. And then, that day I became a military spouse, which, I have no regrets. Don't get me wrong, but it was kind of a, as Mike Tyson says, what does he say? Everybody has a great plan until you get punched in the face. Well, that was kind of my punch in the face. Oh, I'll just start another business, when I become a military spouse, no problem. And then I realized, wait a second, we're moving again. We barely unpacked. How do I start a business in this? So that kind of, years later, sort of spurred me on my journey to not just, become an entrepreneur, but help others become entrepreneurs. Because I tell you one thing I learned as a military spouse, and when we got married, Tom took command straight out of the Pentagon, and I got to know a lot of the families, and I realized that this was not just Stephanie suffering from this sort of, oh, hey, where's my life? Where's my career? There were a lot of others doing the same. And that just, everywhere we went, I just saw this commonality between spouses and a lot of veterans looking to start businesses. And I found myself kind of meeting and mentoring veterans or guys getting ready to get out, or gals, that said, hey, Stephanie, I heard you, used to own a business. I've got this idea. And that sort of morphed into really developing what Rosie is today. And that is, we provide free entrepreneurial training, mentorship, and support to thousands of veterans and active duty and military spouses in 32 states across the country. Our program has won multiple national awards. We just graduated our first cohort with the Wounded Warrior Project, which was a huge deal to me, and the Elizabeth Dole Foundation. So their alumni, their caregivers also, who are looking to, become self-employed, realize the American dream of small business ownership, and to be able to provide our program to organizations like that and individuals, across the board is just, it is my mission. It's my mission. And, Tom passed away earlier this year. So, he helped me, when I turned to him and I said, hey, I have this idea. And he's like, oh no, not another one, Stephanie. Really? What is it this time? And I told him, and he said, Steph, this is needed. What can I do? So I am continuing on and honor his memory and the memory of my dad. And I just want to see every single veteran and military spouse out there that wants to be a business owner be successful. I don't care if it is, a part-time side gig that's just gonna, that makes you happy. If that's what makes you happy, awesome. We're here to help. If you want to create the next, Facebook or whatever the case may be, you want to, own the world, great. We're going to try to help you do that too. But the bottom line is, like my dad really saw that successful businesses was much more than just about making money. It was actually about building a community and helping others and giving back. And that's what the Rosie Network is all about.
Yeah, I didn't even know about it till you were scheduled to come on, and I checked into it, and I'm so glad that you're on. I really appreciate you coming on, because I think there's a lot of veterans who wants to start businesses, but they don't know where to start, right?
Yeah.
Yes, there's SBA and there's other stuff out there, but they're not really there. They're not really easy accessible to get that information. But with your place, you can get that done. And one of the reasons we started Helping the Brave was we want to get that information out so people are aware of what's going on and they can find this kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. And it's, you can teach yourself pretty much anything online, let's face it, right? Some good, some bad. But I think what makes what we do incredibly valuable and unique is that we do it in small cohorts. So you, Ed, you are paired in a cohort with other, veterans, and you're all of, you have these shared experiences, right? I mean, let's say your business is in, marketing, and somebody else is building an app. You need an app and he needs marketing. It's watching that sort of trusted cross collaboration happen. It's very unlike most accelerators or incubators. And while we've had to go virtual, I really look forward to the day when we can actually start coming back in person. We'll always keep a virtual component because the request for chapters in our program are, it outpaces our ability to provide them. So opening it up virtually has allowed us to have folks from Japan to Alaska, Hawaii, participate and go through the program. And then at the very end, they actually have a pitch presentation. So we help them develop a pitch deck, right? Because each of our modules addresses items that need to be in a pitch deck. If you don't know what a pitch deck is, for your listeners, you can Google it. It's basically a short PowerPoint / business plan, all wrapped up into one, and it enables you to share, your why, how, and what, in a very concise, easy to understand, powerful way. So we help them build these pitch decks that at the very end they get to present. So we got to sit with the Wounded Warrior Project guys and gals as they went through and presented their pitch deck. Now, we used to do it in person. They'd get up on stage. We had the cameras, lights, media, business leaders, etc., which I know caused a few gray hairs, because that's not an easy thing to do. But we do it virtually now. We record it and we post it, and they can, put it on their own media. It's really amazing. I have truly the greatest job. I don't have to start and run these businesses. We just provide, we provide training and mentorship and a trusted network of, folks from inside of our community. It's amazing. It's amazing. And you can take a business class, you can go out and get a degree, but, I've had folks that have done that go through our program and go, holy cow, we didn't learn the common sense stuff that you're teaching, when we went and got our MBA. This is common sense, right? Stuff. So it'll save you money, save you time, save you heartache. I mean, you're going to make mistakes, right, Ed? I mean, you know that. You can't,
I've never made a mistake. Never.
Sure.
Well, little do you know, I have another podcast called Inner Edison, and it's about our greatest accomplishments come from our greatest failures.
That's right. What's the saying, Edison? It took him 1,000 tries or to invent
999 ways how not to make a light bulb.
There you go. Exactly. And it's true. It's true. So we teach how to pivot your business, right? During COVID, we literally spent thousands of mentoring hours helping veteran business owners and military spouses take a business that was suffering because of the shutdown and get creative. Okay, how can we pivot this product, this service, so that you can, survive and thrive through this pandemic?
Yeah. And as bad as the pandemic was for everything, it changed a lot of businesses for the better. I mean, and because I'm part of this other group, and they're like, how did COVID affect you? And I'm like, it was the best thing it ever did to me. I'm doing lives and other stuff because I had to. I didn't have a choice. I wouldn't have done it before, but now I'm doing it because of what we went through and everything else. I'm doing more podcasts and more other stuff because of it, because it just allowed us to do that and have the time to do it. Now, if somebody wants to start a business, they want to get in contact, what's the process?
So it's therosienetwork.org. Go there. You can click on Service to CEO. You can see where we have chapters. We literally have cohorts going on constantly around the, around the country all the time. So if San Antonio's cohort is just wrapping up, then maybe Fort Dix or JBLM is getting ready to open. So you can literally go on there, just fill out an application. I say application because we ask you questions like, where are you? Tell us a little bit about yourself, your business, what do you hope to get out of this program? And then we talk to and meet with every single person. And it's really not just to manage, their expectations. Look, this is a program, this is, you got to kind of take it seriously, right? We give you an accountability partner who's going to call you up and go, hey, you got 3 things to do. Haven't seen anything, checking in on you. And I tell you, at first I thought people aren't going to want that. But you know what, Ed? People thank us for that all the time because we keep them on task. And if they're struggling with something, then we can step in and go, okay, let's break this down into bite-sized chunks. What's the issue here? And then our mentor program. I mean, 90% of businesses that don't have mentors fail within the first 3 years. 90%. So having that, and knowing that it's coming from, a community of like-minded, as I said before, similar experiences, is meaningful when it comes to that kind of thing, for mentoring and collaborating and things like that. So yeah, therosienetwork.org.
And how long is the process? I mean, you said there's different modules. I don't want to pull them all up, but basically, let's see here, about programs. So the Service to CEO program.
Yeah.
What's that program?
So that's it. It's typically the program runs for 16 weeks, right? We meet every week. We have 8 modules. So everything from, what the marketing and legal, and we cover all of those basics across the board, and we dedicate 2 weeks to each one of those modules, and we have subject matter experts come in and teach a part of that module. So for instance, if you're talking about taxes, we have CPAs, and I know, don't shake your head.
I hate taxes. When we're in California, it's going to get worse.
It's going to get worse, and the whole, what is it, CR5, CA5, anyway, the law that went into the Uber and Lyft were fighting, as far the independent contractor versus employee law that passed in California last year. I mean, that was a game changer for a lot of small and medium-sized businesses. The big guys like Uber and Lyft could actually fight it, and they got exempted. Congratulations. The rest, everybody else did not. So things like that. One thing that'll get you in trouble quicker than anything is violating your state law. And California doesn't play around. We had a military spouse who started a business, and like in the very early days of our program, she ran her business out of our office, right? I mean, she got that for free. And she was not doing it right when it came to hiring people. And so we brought in a very expensive HR expert on California law who spent endless hours with her and sat down and said, look, this is what you're doing. This is what will land you in jail. This is how we're going to fix it, and we're going to help you. So, and that's what we provide. The work is up to you. You're the one that has to implement those changes. And if you don't, then you stand to get into a lot of trouble. And this gal ended up going bankrupt. There are success stories, and then there are stories of failure. So you got to learn from both. In fact, you'll learn more from people's stories of failure than you will their success stories. But I tell this story, and it's I will never say who, but she's paying that price today, but you got to do the work. And so that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about when I say trying to help give these folks the tools and resources and expertise and mentorship to help them succeed and maybe not make some of those really expensive mistakes.
Yeah, because a lot of people who are entrepreneurs don't understand all the other stuff, the financial readiness, the legal and team building, the others. They're all about what they're trying to put together or what they're trying to sell. That whole thing they're trying to do. They don't know anything about marketing, social media. So I can read your modules off the corner of my eye there. So,
right. Who's your customer? You're spending all this money, marketing on Facebook, and your customer doesn't even go there. Then, that's a waste of money. So kind of doing a, customer analysis, right? And competition. What does your competition do? What is your unique proposition? We have all these, work group things that help you sort of peel that back, and you're not doing it alone. You're doing it with others. So the feedback is phenomenal. It's all stuff that I don't care if you've been in business for 5 years and you want to scale to the next level. Stuff that we cover is of value. And the beautiful thing is we started providing this program, and folks would graduate, and then they would come to us, week, 2 months, 3, 4 months later, and go, I miss it. So we started, everybody that goes through our program can join our national alumni. So thousands all across the country, overseas, folks, graduates are part of our national alumni, where we hold mastermind sessions, and we'll take an issue that we find quite a lot of our business owners are struggling with, and then we get the brightest minds we have together, and we really break it down. Like, okay, this is how you approach this issue, and people can interact and collaborate. It's really, like I said, it's sorry, I know I sound like a broken record, but it's really the greatest job ever. Watching these folks take an idea, something from the ideation concept phase to launch and growth, and ultimately they're selling it. You got to have an exit strategy. So it's really, it's an honor. It's an honor.
It sounds amazing program. I can hear myself on your speakers. But the program sounds, no, I'm just saying I can hear myself again. So maybe turn me on here. It's like being on the radio, and then you have the radio on. They tell you don't have the radio on. Anyway. So this sound amazing program. I'm glad I came across it. I'm glad that you came on. I'm not trying to get rid of you. I'm just, whoops, we lost her. And there she is. She's back. There you are.
Well, don't put me in charge of technology yet. I tell you.
Hey, you're back. At least you're there.
That's all
that matters.
Okay.
Yeah. See there, and that's little things that just happen that you never know is going to happen. But you're talking about, we're talking about mistakes and things you make. I mean, I don't, you probably don't know this. I do a radio show, and we had some people on about 401ks just this week, because for the radio show this weekend. I had no idea the state of California imposed that 5 or more employees, you have to have a 401k set up for those people. And if you don't, you're stuck into their program, and you're opted in automatically. And the whole nine, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. As a business owner, you need to know this stuff. Right. And most people didn't even know that this went into effect 2 years ago.
Yeah. And it's true. Those are the pitfalls. Like I said, I mean, it's no joke, because once they find out, they're on you. Yeah. They're on you.
$200 per person.
Yeah. It's, California's got a lot. Well, that's another conversation, my friend, for another day.
Yeah. That's like a 12-hour conversation. That's why a lot of, because I mean, as much as they say people are leaving, they're not really leaving there. We got 40 million people in California. It's going to take a lot of people leaving to make a change. What I mean, for us to see that change. But
we need a voice for small business owners, because if there's one thing we've learned through this past year, is really small business. We knew it statistically, but when you live it and you see it in your neighborhood, your local, whatever it is, your local, I was going to say pawn shop, but that's pretty bad example. Your local pizza place, your dry cleaner, all of those small businesses that create the majority of jobs. We need a voice for the small business owner. Don't lump us all in with Uber and Lyft. I mean, I think that's, I love advocacy work. So, that's obviously a passion of mine. I mean, I love trying to raise awareness and remove some of those barriers that our military families face when it comes to launching and growing a business. Spouses, especially. Spouses, especially. So,
and I think a lot of us, please forget about the spouses. And I know, we're the veterans, right? We don't, we forget how much that's the spouse gives up to be part of our group in the military, and they need our support as much as possible. I'm not saying it's always that way, but they don't talk about veterans and spouses. They talk about veterans, or they're talking about military people, right? So it's amazing that coming from a spouse of a especially a SEAL, and I'm sorry for your loss. You were talking. I didn't want to interrupt because I know how that is. And the best, what I heard today that I like better than the program you go through is the fact that you have another program for mentoring and helping them along the way. Because one of the things I found through business and actually doing my other, I don't want to throw it out here, but Inner Edison podcast, I interview a lot of business owners. I mean, pretty much everybody's a business owner or some long ways, and it's lonely at the top. You need a mentor, you need a strategic coaching plan or a group of people, a mastermind group. You need a coach, a corner man, whatever you call it, in there for you to help you succeed. And even if you're not a business owner, you still need that as an individual to help you grow. And we don't want cheerleaders. And that's why you were saying you were surprised that people wanted this. Well, you guys are accountability, not a cheerleader. We don't want cheerleaders. And that's the problem with a lot of coaches. They try to be a cheerleader. We don't want cheerleaders. We want coaches who will make us accountable for what we're supposed to do so that we can stay on top, because our spouse won't do that. Not the way we want them to do it anyway. So just in case she's watching. Yeah. Anyway, someone wanted to say hello to you, so I'm going to throw it on the screen. Can you see that? Yeah. Great program. I want to get more involved. So after this, we'll talk.
Absolutely.
Is there anything you want to throw out there before we go to, anything that we missed?
Well, this all began really quickly. This all began with me hitting Angie's List and Craigslist, right? Tom was deployed at the time, and I had a plumbing problem. Believe me, it was a problem. So I went on Angie's List and Craigslist, and part of me said, why can't I find, like my dad's old story, if I was shopping for a music instrument or repair, why can't I find a veteran or military family-owned business in my neighborhood? I know they're out there. So it all began with Rosie's List, which is what we built. We built this searchable database. It's got tens of thousands of veteran and military spouse-owned verified owned businesses. From that music store to the plumber to the handcrafted item. I mean, everything you can possibly think of under the sun that's legal on there. And I just ask, right now it's under construction. We're actually in the process of building it into an e-commerce or an e-marketplace. So you can actually purchase products and services directly from Rosie's List and find, your businesses like yours, Ed. But use it once it comes back live. If you've got a business and you want to get on rosieslist.org, you can go there right now. You can reach out to us and let us know. We can help you create a profile once it's back up and running, which will happen this year. It'll be bigger and better than ever. We got to start buying from each other. We got to start patronizing each other. I hear it all the time. Small businesses are suffering. Everybody's turning to Amazon. Nothing against Amazon, but if I want to buy an American flag for my wall, why, who'd you get that from? Then the flag behind your head, Ed, up on the wall, right?
Dog Tag Furniture. They're out of business now. They were a veteran-owned company, and they made them. And actually, when they were making them, they got so inundated by orders. They were like, "Hey, would you like to come out and help us make these? Because we can't do it." And people came out and made them. And then I went to check to see if I could get some more because somebody else asked me about them, and they're not in business anymore.
Yeah. So part of that is, not that particular company, but, doing the back end, right? Because it's not just about coming up with a great idea, as it's about how do you manage the money, the people, the inventory, the whole process. It's not easy. But, what we can do as consumers is put our money toward businesses like that, right? If we're looking for a realtor or a mortgage company or a landscaper or, a Father's Day gift, stop for just a second and say, hey, I've served. My father served. Or my wife is serving. My husband is serving. I want to buy from a veteran or a military family first. If we did that one simple act, it would be a game changer. It really would. So that's my one ask. One ask.
I'm going to throw another ask on your list. Can you make sure that you have a way to rate people? And you know what I mean? How they're, kind of the same way that we do with Yelp and everything else. And the reason I'm saying that is there are some company in my industry who have certain words in their name, and they are the worst for our veterans. And our veterans are very trusting. We trust people. So we come to them thinking that they're going to take care of us, and they take advantage of us.
Yeah.
I've seen it multiple times. I have copies of LEs and everything of how much they've taken advantage, and you really have to be careful. So it would be nice to have that type of a rating system so people could go in and say, hey, this is what this person did to me, you know?
Yeah, I agree. But monitoring it, because the flip side of that can be true too, you know, and it's unfortunate, but it happens. I've seen it happen too. Believe me, I've seen it happen too. So yes, having a way, we're actually trying to model what we're building around the Better Business Bureau. So you can also get a rating, right?
Right.
You know, you have a rating. So enough people say, hey, Ed's company is totally trustworthy. He says he does what he says, so on and so forth. And then, you get a rating. And then if there's a dispute, instead of posting a bunch of nasty back and forth, we reach out, we bring Ed together, we bring the customer together, and, try to go, okay, what is the issue? Well, Ed's trying to fix it. Why, there's not enough of that. And I think there can be, and there's a way to, make it so that it's not just another e-marketplace. It's an actual ecosystem, right? It's an ecosystem. And so I'm super excited about it. It has been a long time coming. It is my passion project. I want to change the way we shop and the way we launch and grow businesses from the military community. That's my goal. Nothing short of it.
And that's an amazing goal. But I do want to talk about like Google, right? When you do the reviews, right? You have 5-star, and then someone goes on there and puts a 1-star. I had one do a 1-star on me. It was not even a client of ours. It was some agent who was upset because we couldn't transfer an appraisal, that we just couldn't do it. So they wrote a bad review and gave us a 1. It's our only 1-star, our only bad review in all of our reviews.
But it knocks the whole thing down. It's there. That's the problem with
what I'm
the
talking.
Yelps. If there's no monitoring, there's no recourse. It's it's just right. Or a competitor goes on there and pretends they're a client. I mean, there's just no, there's no oversight. So I think it's powerful, and yet it's also can be damaging and unfair. So trying to come up with a way to do it that is actually meaningful is what we're working on right now. So yeah, I get it.
Well, great job. If you ever need any help on anything, let me know.
Oh, trust me, Ed. I'm going to put you on speed dial, and you're going to regret the day you made that offer. But yeah,
that's what I'm here to help vets. I'm here to grow other stuff. That's what I'm here. I only have so much longer on this world. I need to do as much as I possibly can to help people. So yeah,
that's how I feel too. That's how I feel too.
What you don't know is my dad was in the Air Force and my uncle was in the Air Force. So
what? So we're Air Force brats. Air Force brats together.
He was out. He died when I was 12 of hairy cell leukemia from the Agent Orange, because he worked on airplanes over there in Vietnam, and he'd worked every day so he could leave early. You know what I mean? If they didn't take any time off, worked constantly, they could get out of there faster back then. Yeah, unfortunately.
We can't forget them, because we're losing them. My father has gone too, but we can't forget our older veterans. We're losing them, and they in fact, when you look at the statistics of the number of veterans starting businesses today versus, let's say, right after World War II. World War II was the highest percentage ever of veterans coming back, launching and growing businesses. Some big business names that were started then are still with us today. We're seeing a decline in that, but we're also seeing an incline in military spouses starting businesses. Up to 48% of spouses in the biggest surveys that we have out there, which, sadly, there's not enough data around military spouse-owned businesses. But, and spouses, I can't remember the percentage, but it's over 10% have also served in uniform. I think it's like 16%. Wow. So they wear double hats. So it's a growing community. You can find, we have great attorneys. Not that I wish anybody would ever need an attorney.
You have to have them.
But you have to have them. And that's another industry that it's critically important to find somebody that you can trust that's not going to take advantage, things like that. So it's pretty remarkable. So yeah, anybody out there listening, I hope you'll go to our website. If you want to be a mentor, if you've got some expertise that you want to share with, a veteran or a military spouse, business owner, or budding entrepreneur, please reach out and let us know. We're always the door is open. It's going to take all of us to help each other as one Navy to another, Navy spouse to a Navy veteran. A rising tide lifts all ships.
Look at that. You
Is there a better note to end on?
No. Stephanie, thank you so much
Yes.
for being here today. So hang on when we leave. All right. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for showing up and talking about your company and what you started. It's really amazing. Great job. Thank
you for having me on Helping the Brave podcast. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's our pleasure, actually. So stay right there.
Great.
Thanks everybody for tuning in, listening. If you're on YouTube, please like, share, and subscribe. And we're here every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 3:30 Pacific, 6:30 Eastern. And again, thank you so much for showing up today. Thanks, Stephanie. Stay right there.